Yeah, she really did say that.
Yeah, she really did say that after she just got done Gaddafi and then laughed about it.
We came, we saw, he died.
We came, we saw, he died. The fact that any human being would ever do that. By the way he died, that's some theory.
I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep. And through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the American.
Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance didn't just challenge Hillary Clinton. They tore through her political facade with unflinching precision and intensity. In a relentless onslaught, they dismantled her scandals, mocked her hypocrisy, and ripped apart the polished image she had spent decades constructing. This was no casual critique. It was a calculated, ruthless takedown that revealed a career driven more by self-preservation than genuine service, leaving Clinton's legacy fractured, exposed, and buckling under the weight of raw, unvarnished truth she could no longer escape.
Holy shit, Jamie, pull that video up.
I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes, and you have to try to learn English, and you have to wait.
What do you want our intelligence community to be doing? I want them to be catching bad guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent American civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them this air of legitimacy. It is sick. And it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community, it hurt the American people, and it hurt the first Trump administration. We've got to have consequences for it, or we're just...
Hillary Clinton has weathered political storms, scandals, reinventions, and countless media resurgences. Still, she moves with the confidence of a seasoned queen of American politics. But Joe Rogan and J.D. Vance had no intention of bowing. This wasn't a coronation. It was an unfiltered demolition of a career pieced together with calculated smiles, meticulously rehearsed outrage, and the political equivalent of duct taping raw ambition to fleeting opportunity.
You watched the conversation between James Comey.
110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information.
When James Comey testified about what he did and what they found with the Hillary Clinton emails, and then her version of it.
I did not email any classified material to anyone. There is no classified material.
She's just a straight liar.
Rogan wasted no time dragging the myth into the harsh light. For years, the Hillary brand has thrived on a mix of self-proclaimed inevitability and elite immunity, as if the rules binding the rest of the country were never meant for her. She's the kind who can preach transparency while sending classified emails from a server that sounds like it was cobbled together in the back of a yoga studio. And even after the media tried to swaddle her in the cozy blanket of revisionist history, Rogan made it clear the stench of those old scandals still clung to her like cigarette smoke in a rundown motel.
Doesn't mean that Hillary would have been a good choice either. She was a terrible choice. She's a corrupt politician, one of the most unlikable people that's ever run for office. They were trying to get people to be supporting her just because she's a woman. This is going to be her history. Women, ladies, I stand with her. So there's all these women that have this blind allegiance towards this career politician, completely full of shit. She's been full of shit.
Then J.D. Vance stepped in, not with the slow burn of a political analyst, but with the blunt force of someone who grew up knowing exactly when he was being sold snake oil. To him, Hillary wasn't just a former first lady or a two-time failed presidential candidate. She was the poster child for Washington's unspoken truth. Insiders never really lose. She didn't get the Oval Office, but she scored the speaking tours, the foundations, the book deals, and the endless cocktail parties where everyone politely pretends she's still politically relevant. Vance sliced straight through the illusion. If failure pays this well, why would anyone bother winning?
Here we see J.D. Vance with Maria Bartiromo, on Fox News Sunday.
I have to say, Maria, I laugh at the Democrats who are now all of a sudden so interested in the Epstein files. We know that Jeffrey Epstein had a lot of connections with left-wing politicians and left-wing billionaires, and now President Trump has demanded full transparency.
Rogan doubled down, suggesting that Hillary's greatest political talent might be her uncanny ability to survive her own controversies. From Whitewater to Benghazi to the Clinton Foundation's donor list, which reads like the VIP section of an international lobbying convention, she's endured storms that would sink most politicians. But instead of going under, she seems to treat every scandal as a fresh networking opportunity. Rogan likened her survival instinct to that of an apex predator, only instead of stalking prey, she's prowling for her next speaking feast.
I like her. That was a lot of people's perspectives on Hillary Clinton.
I'm pretty sure everyone loved her. I'm pretty sure she
the
won.
most loved.
She's cool. I just like I liked her. Who isn't?
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Okay, but did you vote for Bernie?
He wasn't available to vote for.
Did you vote in the...
I didn't vote for in the primary.
In the primaries, right.
Yeah, but I had him on my podcast, and he was very sincere.
Okay, cool. I've had my mom on my podcast. You want to flex?
Vance didn't spare her on the cultural front either. He tore into the way Hillary tries to brand herself as a relatable champion for everyday Americans, all while delivering speeches and wearing outfits that likely cost more than a small-town family's annual rent. Every attempt at authenticity, he said, has the same energy as a billionaire showing up to a backyard barbecue in a baseball cap, hoping no one notices the Rolex. It's political cosplay, and Vance wasn't buying a ticket to the show. Together, he and Rogan tag-teamed the hypocrisy with surgical precision. Rogan shredded her "I'm just like you" act, the one Hillary rolls out every few years when she's fishing for public sympathy. Suddenly, she's baking cookies, sipping beer, and awkwardly dancing at campaign rallies like a wedding guest who's only there for the open bar. But the second the camera stopped rolling, she's back to speaking fluent donor-class jargon and mapping out her next strategic re-entry into the spotlight. Rogan made it clear, the act only works on people who want to believe it.
To try to silence him and shut him up. And then consider, just yesterday, one of the chief surrogates of Kamala Harris's campaign is Hillary Clinton. And you know what Hillary Clinton said yesterday? She said that misinformation should be met with criminal penalties. That we ought to throw people in jail and silence them if they say something that Hillary Clinton disagrees.
Vance, on the other hand, zeroed in on the generational problem she represents. He argued that Hillary's entire political career is a case study in how the same faces keep cycling through Washington like bad sitcom reboots. Every election cycle, Americans are told they need her wisdom, her experience, her steady hand, as if the younger generation of leaders couldn't possibly play in the big leagues without her shadow stretching over the field. Vance's point was sharp. Maybe the problem isn't that America lacks new leaders, but that the old ones refuse to leave the stage. Rogan didn't just label it hypocrisy, he called it an art form. Vance poured gasoline on that fire by noting that Hillary has mastered the Washington game so completely that even her defeats morph into victories. Lose an election? No problem. You walk away with a book deal, a documentary, and a cushy seat at every policy think tank, still pretending you might run again. In a way, Vance suggested, she's living proof that political failure in America is simply another career move.
You're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it. Yeah, a lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A lot of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah,
Still. I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
The focus shifted to her 2016 campaign. the grand production that was meant to be the crowning victory lap of her career. Rogan dissected the arrogance, the complacency, and the baffling strategy of running as if the presidency were already hers. Instead of inspiring voters, it felt like a corporate rollout for a product everyone was told they had to buy. And when the voters said no, Hillary didn't just lose, she blew up her own narrative of inevitability. Vance reminded everyone of the post-2016 blame game. Rather than engaging in genuine self-reflection, Hillary's camp handed out excuses like Halloween candy. It wasn't her fault. It was the media, the Russians, the FBI, misogyny, the Electoral College, and maybe even Mercury being in retrograde. Rogan noted that for all her talk of transparency, the Clinton Foundation operated with the kind of secrecy usually reserved for offshore accounts.
Was he?
He's so like when I met
charming.
him, he is, and he's actually still kind of good looking. Like even for an older dude, yeah, why not? He's still so good looking, and she's just so miserable.
Well, she's publicly humiliated, and she thought that her big retribution would become president. You know, become president.
Sure.
And then that would be it. All water under the bridge. I'm a strong woman. I'm running this country. And then America was like, nah.
Vance drove the point home by bringing it back to the everyday American. The people Hillary claims to fight for don't have foundations funded by international donors. They don't have back channels to the highest levels of global power. They have bills to pay, taxes to cover, and jobs that don't come with six-figure speaking fees. Yet Hillary can still deliver speeches about the struggles of working families without the slightest acknowledgement of how far removed her reality is from theirs. Vance closed with a final strike at her political legacy. After all her years in public life, all her influence, all her access to power, what exactly is the great Hillary Clinton achievement? Not the titles she's held, but the results she's delivered. It's a question that, once asked, lingers in the air like smoke after a fire, and the silence that follows says more than any answer could.
And here's the thing. If you're willing, my friends, if you are willing to throw a person in jail because you disagree with what they say, then you're going to be willing to put a bullet in their head too. So the Democrats, I call on every leader in this country, not just tone down the rhetoric, but tone down the censorship. Let's have a debate with one another. That's what Americans do. Stop trying to silence people.
By the end of Rogan and Vance's roast, Hillary Clinton wasn't the seasoned stateswoman she likes to project. She had become the embodiment of a political class that confuses persistence with progress, a career defined less by service than by sheer survival. The picture that emerged wasn't of a leader wronged by fate, but of a political operator who never learned how to exit the stage, and likely never will. Rogan wasn't finished. He zeroed in on the image gap, the vast divide between the Hillary Clinton political insiders see and the one the rest of the country experiences. To the Beltway crowd, she's a legacy figure, a heavyweight whose Rolodex could double as a global power map. Yet every campaign promise feels reheated, like leftovers from a dinner nobody wanted the first time around.
So many people from the left that think she has the best chance of beating Trump or whoever is on the right, that they want her so bad. They're willing to exonerate her from so many different horrendous things. And one of the things I always point out, like, people want to talk progressive. You want to talk, being left wing, and she didn't even believe in gay marriage until 2013.
The best part was she was on NPR, which is this far right fringe organization, right? NPR, Terry Gross. And Terry Gross says, you used to be against gay marriage. Your husband passed DOMA, which made it a federal law that gay marriage won't be recognized by the federal government. And you changed your position. Like, how did that happen? Was it because Americans became... And Hillary's like, well, America changed their point of view. She goes, no, I understand Americans changed their point of view. What was your mental process? And she goes, no, Terry, you're saying that I changed my mind.
You can change the packaging, update the slogans, and swap in a few new buzzwords, but the recipe is always the same. More bureaucracy, more self-congratulation, and more belief that voters should feel lucky just to be included in her audience. Rogan then pulled her digital awkwardness into the spotlight. Hillary's attempts to embrace social media carry the same forced energy as a corporate brand tweeting memes to seem cool. Every post feels like it's been filtered through a dozen advisors, scrubbed of anything resembling real personality, and uploaded with the kind of enthusiasm you'd expect from someone explaining tax codes. She's the walking embodiment of a political PR department, efficient, polished, and entirely manufactured. And yet, for all the talk of inevitability and every meticulously choreographed appearance, it still ended with the country veering sharply in the opposite direction. Vance called it the ultimate irony. The woman who spent her career trying to control the political narrative lost control of it in the most spectacular way possible.
I provided all my emails that could possibly be work-related.
Several thousand work-related emails that were not among the group of 30,000 emails returned by Secretary Clinton.
When they rigged the DNC, they rigged the primaries so that Bernie Sanders was going to lose.
I thought using one device would be simpler.
She also used numerous mobile devices to send and to read email.
She had her people into the DNC way in advance. That Donna Brazile book about it is
Rogan poured salt on the wound, pointing out her uncanny knack for rallying opponents more effectively than supporters. Every time she re-enters the political conversation, her critics multiply, while her base shrinks into a small circle of diehard loyalists who seem more nostalgic than energized. It's not just that she's polarizing, it's that she polarizes in a way that unites her enemies far more than her friends. Then, Vance delivered one final hit on the culture of entitlement that surrounds her. The spotlight isn't gone, it's merely on pause, waiting for her cue. Rogan wrapped it all in a metaphor that stuck. Hillary's political career is like an old piece of software that keeps getting updates, but never truly improves. The graphics get shinier, the menus get rearranged, but the same glitches remain. And no matter how many times it's patched, you can't help but wonder why you're still using it when there are better, faster, and more relevant options.